Hello and welcome to the Armory. Today we are talking about this MAS36 that I have here. And to be honest, I really enjoyed shooting it. We had some issues when we were shooting it, but none of it was the rifle's problem. It was all the target's problem. But if you like firearms related content, hit that like and subscribe button and help us grow as a channel. Help us bring you more content. And please leave comments. I like to hear your feedback. I like interacting with you. I want to see what you guys want to see and what you want to learn about. But today, we're going to start off with one of the predecessors to the MAS36. So, during World War I, the French were using both the Lebel rifle and the Berthier and Berthier carbine rifles. And here's one of our Berthier carbines. You can remember us doing the restoration of this. And this had a lot of flaws to it for its day. This is the actual M16 model of the Berthier carbine. And the difference between that is the magazine capacity. So the Berthier originally was a 3-round capacity, while everybody else, like the British using the Smelly, had a 10-round capacity. The Pattern 14, the Gewehr 98, and many others had a 5-round capacity. The Springfield 1903, for example. I mean, yes, on the model in 1917, you could squeeze that one extra round in, 6 rounds in the magazine, but that's neither here nor there. But there were some issues with this. I mean, it was complicated to tear apart in the field. You have screws here, other screws to take out just to disassemble it, just to clean the thing. I mean, without getting too far into it. I mean, some rifles you can pull the trigger, pull the bolt out. For example, one of the updates for the MAS36, pull the trigger, bolt comes out. Very simple. But here we go. So the French were using the 8mm Lebel rifle rounds for both the Lebel and the Berthier. So they were these rimmed cartridges here, and I'll get a picture for you. And they wanted to go to in the 1920s, they wanted to go to a different cartridge, something a little better for them. And let me check my notes here. A new cartridge was adopted in 1924, but in 1929 it had to be modified because of issues it was having. And that would be the 7.5x54 French round here. And we'll get a close-up look at both of these together for you, so you can see the differences that going in here on the rounds they used. And one main difference here was that we no longer needed a clip-style system to be internal on this, so like a Mannlicher style rifle. So that they got rid of that. So in 1932. A prototype rifle came out for the trials for this round, and it subsequently turned into what is now the MAS36. So that the prototype rifle was developed for the round, testing came about, and then the MAS36 was adopted in 1936, and then some notes say by 1940, about 250,000 of these rifles were available. However, I can't confirm that number. But what I do know is when the Germans invaded, the French did not have enough of these to field all their units. Only a few units were issued the MAS36. So they were still using the Lebels and the Berthiers when the Germans invaded. And the Germans actually took over the facilities of MAS, MAS. I don't speak French, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce the manufacturer's actual name. But it's going to be here on the screen for you. And what the Germans did was they actually took these rifles that were being manufactured at these at the factory, and they issued to some of their garrison troops that were stationed in occupied France. Because, again, you got the manufacturing capabilities there, you got the ammo there, they might as well. And it was designated the Gewehr 242. But during World War II, resistance troops, I've read stories on this, and resistance troops would actually steal parts and everything from the manufacturing plants, and basically in basements and whatnot, put these rifles together to use against the Germans. And there was actually quite a few different changes that throughout the years, pre-war and post-war, on these rifles. And if you find a pre-war example, you'll see those differences, including in the front sights and everything. I don't have all the list of changes that they made. I've watched some videos on them. But after World War II, mass production just ramped up on these. And these were made up until around 1952, if I remember the stock. So the French like to date their stocks here. And this stock was dated 1955 or 56. But I'm being told that manufacturing ceased in 1952. So this could just have been an Arsenal refinish. Because, I mean, it's in really good shape. I mean, the metal, like, barely any scratches on it. So this could have just been an Arsenal refinish, put in the locker, and forgot about until time to sell it. But these rifles, they're, in some ways they were complicated. In other ways they were simplified. But when these were finished producing, there was about 1.1 million of these rifles, and they were used in many conflicts, including North Africa, Algiers, Vietnam, to name a few. But this was then replaced by the MAS39, I think it was. Don't quote me on that. If it's not 49, I will have it up on the screen here with the correct designation for it. But let's take a look at this. So when I took this to the range, I had a hard time keeping the target on, and it's not the rifle that was having a hard time hitting the target. It was the target was falling off. So the first round hit the steel plate, and it's a small steel plate. Okay. And you'll see it right here as I'm walking out to it to pick it up after a round knocked it off. That last shot literally took off the target. Oh, wow. Did it take off that target all right? This is the target. We're literally shooting. And this is the side we're shooting at. And you can see the size of my hand compared to the target. What I'm looking at. Well, I think what we need to do is find a new hook to put in. So let's see what we got and go from there. And all right. It just I just kept having problems that every few rounds the plate would just fly off, so I ended up just throwing a paper target up and shooting at the paper targets. To be honest, I like the steel targets just because I can hear it hit and I know I'm on. But as I'm showing you here, I mean, this rifle was fairly accurate for what I was doing. Well, we don't have a target anymore. So let's look here. So one thing that you have here, you have your stacking rod here, as you can see, and the front sight is all part of this unit. And one interesting thing, it's got a really fat front sight. So let's take a look. Let's go in here. So trying to actually get that on target, it pretty much, at a good range, it's covering the entire target. It's really fat, really meaty, which is good for this, because this is a combat weapon. This isn't a precision sniper rifle. One change that they made because this is a post World War II example. You had regular ears, from what I've seen in pictures, and I'll try to get one up here for you, of a pre-war to protect for a sight protector. They then went to the stamped metal sight hood on this. One interesting fact is the bayonet on these. When you get these, they usually come with the bayonet. It's just a rod bayonet that's housed where your cleaning rod would usually be housed. So on these, instead of having a cleaning rod out front here, like you would on most military rifles of the day, except for the Smelly didn't have it, nor did basically the British rifles didn't have it, but the German rifles, other rifles had them in the day. The French went ahead and put the bayonet there, so that all you had to do was just pull it out like I just did, and just stick it in. And to put it back away, that's it. Now, one thing about these is, like me, I like to clean. I like to take handguards and everything off and disassemble rifles to clean them. You need a special screwdriver or tool to remove this handguard here, or this barrel band. To remove the barrel band, you need a special tool here to remove the screw, because what they did was these were sighted in at the arsenal, and if you were to disassemble them, the arsenal would have to re-sight them in, as this whole part here is part of the whole unit. It's crazy. So I've honestly never disassembled it for that very reason, to do any cleaning or anything. But I mean, it's in really good shape, so I don't really think I have to. So as for the bolt, they simplified the bolt a lot, as I said. To remove the bolt, let's go ahead and take a look at the bolt here. So it has a last round hold open on this. So let's do this again. So yeah, it wasn't this hard for me earlier. There we go. There we go. So as you can see, last round hold open, push down on the magazine, bolt comes in. It has that dog leg, like so they took a lot from a lot of different rifles here. So the dog leg bolt here, they kind of got from the Pattern 14 model of 1917 idea of having that dog leg down, make it a little quicker for shooting, but they pulled it forward as an attempt to make getting your next round quicker. One other thing is this does not have a safety. French doctrine at the time was you would put your rounds in whenever you were, unless you were told to, you would have it down. You would carry it without a round in the chamber. When you were ordered to chamber a round, you would then pull the bolt back, chamber the round. Now this is a cock on open system. So like on the infield where it's cock on close, you got that spring tension when you're going to close it. This is a cock on open. So as soon as you open this up, it's already, the bolt's already cocked for the round. So that's why it goes all the way forward here when you push the bolt forward. Now, as I said, we're going to take a look at this bolt here. So we got, it takes a lot from different things. It's got the rear locking lugs like on an infield here. And we're going to get a nice picture for you to see on this. They take a big extractor here, kind of like a Mauser, but it's definitely not like a Mauser. All right, so the bolt comes out like a Mosin. So if you're familiar with the Mosin, here we got an M39. Pull it open, pull the trigger, pulls out. So the bolt disassembles, well, it comes out of the rifle like that. So let's go ahead and put this back. As for the sling, they pretty much use the same sling as the Lebel and the Berthier. They really just kept the same sling. And that's from what I'm seeing. I just ordered a sling for the Berthier, and it's the same exact sling. And they went with this regular style metal butt plate on this. And as I said, I'll see if I can get a picture of a pre-war one, so I can really you can really see the difference between this rifle here and the ones that came before the invasion of France and the occupation. But I really enjoyed shooting this. This was a very pleasant rifle to shoot. Definitely nothing like the Berthier, which was a shock all in itself, because this one, when I shot it, I felt it. It was like, ugh. But this one, nah, it was pleasant. It's got a little more weight. So the Berthier is a pretty light rifle, where this has quite a bit more weight to it. Let's get the bolt back in here. And when it comes to like the length of the Berthier carbine, the M16 carbine, the MAS36 is a slightly longer rifle. Let's move these boxes here. So let's bring these here like this. As you see, very similar slings. Just difference here is the colors on them. So as you can see here, the Berthier carbine M16 ended about here, whereas the MAS36 came out good, what, 6 inches from that. And here on the screen we have the actual weights of both the Berthier M16 carbine and the length of barrel for each. So down in the comments section, let me know what you'd like to see next. I've got plenty of rifles here on the wall. I've got the M16A4 here. The A2 needs a little bit of work to get right. We got the FAL, the G3 PTR91. We've got the Steyr AUG, the IWI Tavor. I can always do a review on that. I know I've done a little bit of a history on it. But we got everything on the wall here. Plus we got more in the safes and everything. So let us know what you want to see. And then we'll see you again next time on the Armory.